And another thing that I wanted to ask you about now, Joe Rogan had revealed that you were actually the one who connected him with Bernie Sanders. Can you kind of explain to us how that happened and just how it went down? Like, where did you come up with the idea? Who did you contact and all that stuff, and just how did that go?
Yeah. So, I have some friends in the Bernie campaign, and obviously Joe Rogan is my friend. And I forget exactly how it went down, but there was one time I floated the idea of having Bernie on his show. And he wasn't really open to it because he was kind of scared of becoming too overtly political. Like he likes the idea that his show's like a smorgasbord of all this different stuff. And I don't think he didn't want to get too pigeonholed and be too political. And so he just kind of like avoided he wanted to avoid it all, you know? And but I guess after a while, and actually I think what changed his mind the most is when he did the Cornell West podcast, and Cornell West repeatedly spoke about Brother Bernie. Brother Bernie's doing amazing work, and that's why I support Brother Bernie. And even I think with Killer Mike too. Killer Mike spoke to Rogan, and he also said like positive stuff about Bernie. And so Rogan reached out to me, and we were talking about it, and he was like, "I'm down, man. I'm down to talk to him." And so I spoke to somebody over at the Bernie Sanders campaign who's high up in the campaign, and we were able to get the details ironed out. But basically, the backstory is just he was hesitant at first, and then I think it was a little bit of Killer Mike, but more so Cornell West talking to him kind of triggered Joe's interest in Bernie. And then, Joe knew that I knew people in the Bernie campaign, and so, we spoke about it, and I was able to get him on. But, there was a period there where I was like, oh, he's just not going to be able to get on, because Joe, again, was hesitant early on. But then after a little while, I don't know what the gap was, maybe a month or so. And then we spoke again, and he was like, let's get it done. And so I reached out to Bernie and his campaign, and boom, we got it all set up, ironed out a date. And that's one of the things, by the way, I'm third most proud of. What were the first two? Justice Democrats and de-radicalizing people from the alt-right. The third thing is introducing Joe to Bernie Sanders. And, Bernie Sanders went on there, and I love it because it showed you that there is hope. People can change their minds. If you read the comment section, there are so many that are like, I thought this guy was a crazy old crank, and it turns out he's really reasonable, and I like him. So I have hope for that stuff, which is why I'm always, usually preaching that you should go on Fox News, you should go in the Lion's Den, and you should make your case, and you should try to change people's minds, because you'd be surprised how much you could do if you just try.
And I have a question. So, do you think, or do you know, if Bernie Sanders had known Joe Rogan prior to like being presented with the opportunity to go on the podcast?
No, he didn't know him.
He
And
had no idea.
Bernie didn't know me. I don't think Bernie knew me until I literally had my short interview with him. I don't
How
think he
did
had any
that
idea
come
who I
about?
was.
How did that interview come about?
That's an interesting one. So somebody from high up in the Bernie campaign reached out to me and was just like, so tomorrow at whatever time it was, you want to talk to Bernie? And I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? And my first reaction was like, I don't really do interviews, and I'm a big supporter of him anyway, so like, what's the point, kind of? That's what I was thinking. And then I sat on it for like, I don't know, like an hour or two, and I was like, what am I doing? Of course I'll talk to It's Bernie Sanders, absolutely. So anyway, that's how that came about. And people are going to be surprised to hear that fact, but I swear up and down, man, and I probably have the text to prove it too, that they reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them.
That
And
doesn't surprise me at all.
but I was hesitant to even do it. And then when I finally said, okay, let's do it, I think that short interview I did with him is equal to or more substantive than any interview he's done with anybody. And I only had like 12 minutes with him or whatever it was.
That's fascinating. That was only like 12 minutes, right?
Super
Did he
short, but I
just have
tried to.
12 minutes, or did you decide, like, oh, that's all I need to interview him about?
No, 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 it wasn't me. And honestly, if I got to choose, I would have picked 30 minutes or an hour.